All right, we're here on August 27th with for Infinite Wisdom. This is a series where lots of fascinating people come in and we have a chat and people get to ask questions at the end. And tonight we are going to be with the delightful, the inimitable Mindy Barrett. So welcome, Mindy, to this beautiful Infinity tribe and guests there, because there are other people here who aren't necessarily in the tribe yet, but maybe they'll want to join after this, who knows. So welcome, my dear friend, Mindy.
Thank you so much. What a sweet honor. Thank you.
Well,
You have a beautiful tribe, woman. Look at them all. Some of them I know, some of them I don't, but just all so sweet and lovely. Thank you.
They are that, and I feel blessed to be in and amongst them. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? Let's start as at how you kind of came along in your life to find a spiritual path, and you can take us as far back as you feel is appropriate.
First, there were the dinosaurs, and then maybe. Let's see. That's a great question. You can tell none of this is rehearsed, can't you?
That's how we like it.
That's how we like it. I think, like a lot of kids do, I knew there was more to what the adults were experiencing than they seemed to be aware of. And it just from there, the curiosity never left. And in my 20s, it continued to evolve, and I would listen to, YouTube is fantastic stuff. Books are amazing teachers and adventure opportunities. And as things went on, I started showing up for speakers and classes and whatnot. And things really ramped up when life just happened, and I ended up being in a position where I found myself doing social media for Lee Carroll and Cryon, and did that for a few years. And it's just from there, everything has just bloomed and exploded, and now I've have the beautiful opportunity of meeting all these amazing spiritual teachers, healers, and leaders, and become their friends, and I adore them, and some of them I get the honor to work with, and it just evolves, for me, it was never really a conscious development. It was this is next, and then that happened, and then this it was really always just an energetic choice of, oh, I have excitement around this, I'm going to do that next. And I've always believed that, excitement is the breadcrumbs of the universe. And whatever you have zing around, whatever lights you up, you should do more of that. And that's how basically my entire life has evolved. And here we are.
I want to get a little more specific. So
okay,
let's go back to when you were a kid. And where did you grow up? And what was the way that what was that like for you? Where were you finding that little sparkle, that little twinkle that you followed?
I grew up until I did my first decade in northern Michigan. And my great grandmother lived with us for a big piece of that. And I was an only child. And my mom worked a lot. My dad was gone a lot. Hallelujah. And I spent a lot of time with this. She was in her 90s. I was probably 3, 5-ish. And she knew that there were magical creatures. And she would tell me about the fairies that lived in the woods. And she would talk to me about the things that none of the other adults were talking about. And it was lovely. And I had imaginary friends that sure did seem real, right? Because I'm sure they were. And it was a beautiful incubator of understanding that there was more to our world than a lot of people seem to have an awareness around. And thank goodness I had time with this amazing old soul, sweet old woman, Grandma Gooch. She had her husband had died in his 40s and they had 13 kids and
Oh,
she was raising 13 kids on her own and she was a firecracker and she ran a truck farm. They would grow the vegetables and at the farm and she would take the truck into town and off that truck she supported them all. And she was
wow.
like 4'7". So, I mean, just loved her.
And did she do that in northern Michigan?
She did that in Ohio. Yeah, she did that in Ohio, but my parents lived in northern Michigan. And when she needed care, she came to stay with my parents. And what a gift to me.
And was it your mother's mother?
It's
Mother?
actually my dad's grandmother.
Your dad's grandmother.
Yeah, it was my dad's grandmother. Yeah,
Well,
she had
isn't it
actually raised
interesting?
my dad for a big part of his life because his mom was her youngest child. And she was deeply struggling with some wounding and just decided to not raise my dad for a while and dropped him off with her mom
Wow.
who clearly knew how to do it. So yeah.
Fascinating. I mean, you think with 13 kids and then all their offspring and all their offspring, she ended up as your person.
Hmm. She did.
And
Out of all
your
those choices,
what
imagine how
what are the
synchronicity.
odds?
Right, right.
What a freaking gift. What an
Really
angel.
was. She really was. She was
Wow.
fascinating and lovely, and she would tell me stories every day, and she'd put me down for a nap, and she'd say things like, "Tell me where you went when you wake up. I can't wait to hear about it."
Lovely.
Oh my gosh.
What a
What a
sweet.
gift.
Hmm.
What a
Really
gift.
was.
Uh, hold on one second. There we go. That is fantastic. Now, do you remember who any of your friends were?
I don't remember her name, but I think about her often. There was another child that was probably 7, 8 years old when I was really small, like 3 to 5-ish, and she was with me all the time. We would skip around and play and even when I was dreaming, she'd go with me. Dreaming, she'd go with me.
Did she look like a human or was she more
She
like a
did.
fairy?
Yep, she looked like a human. She looked like a human girl. And we lived in this house, this older house, and I was born in the late 60s. And so the older house was probably built in the 20s, right? And my room was on the very, very top floor. And I was terrified of the dark. I had a lot of sleep paralysis experiences. So I'd
Huh.
wake up, but my body wouldn't be awake. And she hung out. She was always right there, always talking me through it. And we spent a lot of time in my room because I'm an only child. My parents were not happy with each other. And so I was keeping my head down and dodging the and so we spent tons of time up there playing with my stuffed animals. And yeah, when she passed, actually, my when her daughter passed,
You mean your great grandmother?
hmm hmm
Uh-huh.
when she passed, I knew that she had passed, and I came down to tell my mom. I said, Grandma's here. That's a little weird. Because she had, gone to a care facility, had gotten different. Anyway, so, and Mom was like, no, she's not. What are you talking about? And, then the phone rang, and guess what? Yeah.
Wow. That must have been
Yeah.
hard for you at that time. And then,
I didn't really understand it enough to really,
Mhm.
and I guess it really wasn't hard for me because at the time I didn't really understand the permanence of it, and
Mhm.
the permanence really obviously wasn't true because she was there.
She was right there.
What's the problem? She's here. No.
So great that you were introduced to all this at a very young age, and
Mhm.
it
But
really
it stuck with me because I think a lot of people
well,
kind of
that's what I was gonna say. It really speaks to your wisdom now. I mean, having started at such a young age and having an open window like that from such a young age. And I think there are probably a lot of people on this call and people out there in general who have these experiences from a young age, and then that keeps them or starts them off on a spiritual path because they know there's something else, right?
agreed.
Um, so then you left Northern Michigan, and where'd you go?
We went to North Carolina. Yeehaw! In 78, it snowed up above the house overnight, and we had had dinner guests the night before. It was this woman that had just had a newborn child, and it snowed up above the doors. And we were in that house with that delightful woman and her newborn baby for a week.
Oh, wow.
And they were digging down to the windows to try to get people emergency supplies, and my parents went on vacation the following summer to find a place to live because that was that. And
Yeah,
we ended up in Hendersonville, North Carolina,
right near Asheville.
right near Asheville. Yep. And
And
I was
tell us about
there
that.
for another decade. Yeah. It was, I was 12 to 20. I
Mhm.
was into all sorts of shenanigans and just busy being a teenager and young adult, just trying to figure it out, navigate it. I didn't have a lot of, in those mountains, in the group that I was in, there was not a lot of spiritual talk. It was pretty definitively framed around Baptist beliefs, which was
Mhm.
certainly not something I was used to coming from my previous framework. Um, I had been practicing my Southern accent so that I wouldn't be bullied in school. And I got down there and they decided that I was making fun of them and beat the snot out of me.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah. So, what do you do? It all makes for a great story.
And I think I remember you mentioning to me at some point, it was pretty country living.
It was pretty country living. Mhm.
Like, you know,
Really was. You walked down to the bus stop down the road and you hoped the dogs didn't bite you today or chase you today, and you hoped you weren't standing out waiting for the bus too long because it was super, super cold in the winter time, which, it's the mountains in North Carolina. So it is the South, but the elevation makes up for it.
it sure does. I've
It
been
sure
up to
does.
some of those mountains where, you know, it's spring way down there, and
Mhm,
it's might as well be Massachusetts
mhm.
up on top of that mountain.
Yeah, it's cold out in
Yeah.
the hollers, I think is how they
Yeah,
say. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yep.
So when did you begin to develop this? Well, there are two tracks I want to follow. One is your business acumen, and the other is your service. That part of you that is so service oriented. Let's talk about that. How did that flower out?
The service aspect, when I really think about it, the service aspect started in elementary school. I've always been deeply empathic and really uncomfortable with watching people suffer.
Mhm.
And so I consistently got involved. Some through empathy, some through savior behavior. And I think sometimes that's a fine line, right? It's
Very
a
fine
bit of a
line.
fine line. But I definitely recognize even in, single digits elementary school that I was always befriending the struggling and trying to find a solution. This is a fairly unusual aspect to my spiritual background that I don't often share. So here we go. I grew up in a knife and gun shop and in the rural mountains of North Carolina. And I was around special forces and the police department and we were doing repairs on guns. We sold knives. My stepfather was a custom knife maker, and he made survival knives for special forces fellas in the military around the world. And there were a variety of characters that I was exposed to as a child. And interestingly enough, one of those fellas was a POW for a long time in Vietnam.
Mm.
And he actually introduced me to Buddhism.
Oh my goodness.
It was fascinating. So I have this really interesting exposure in my life and understanding of the big picture and the ability to just really love people no matter where they are, because I have lots of people that are complete pacifists and would not even begin to think about handling a gun. And I have people in my life that I also love that have been deeply involved in military operations for their entire adult lives who I also love. And so I have, and I'm triple Sagittarius. So I have this ability to, zoom out and zoom in and just meet people where they're at with very, not always completely no judgment, but very limited judgment, and just show up and love them because all those parts and pieces live in here.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Talk about that a little bit.
Mhm.
Can you talk about
So,
that?
sure, I'll talk about it. The For me, being in the rural mountains of North Carolina, the entire state is, for the most part, conservative politically. But in Asheville, it's very liberal. And so I was constantly surrounded by both sides, right? And I never really even realized until I got older that they were sides. They were just people that believed different things.
Mhm.
So I didn't talk politics with them. I didn't know. So there were lots of people that were going to the Baptist churches. There were lots of folks that didn't go to church at all. And then there were lots of folks that were spiritual. I didn't understand the titles, but looking back, I had all this exposure to all of the above. And so they were just people. They were just fascinating, interesting folks that showed up with their own wisdom, and everybody was kind to me for the most part. My mom was an RN at the VA. My stepfather ran this gun and knife shop, and there were all sorts of people that I went to school with whose parents were hippies. So, it just ran the spectrum of all these different things that I was exposed to, and it created this amazingly diverse opportunity for experience, and to see that there really are no sides. You know, maybe we have aspects of our personality that we enjoy more than others, or that we identify with more than others, but it pretty much lives in all of us, just in, you know, maybe different amounts. But definitely in me. I will speak for myself. I have seen it all occur in here in one way or another. In one way or another. So it gives me a great opportunity to be able to relate. You know, I've been super angry and thought about violence, didn't act on it, but thought about it. So it helps me relate to that. And then at the same time, you know, there's a piece of me that would never even think about that or consider that, or, you know, would have judgment about that. And they all live in here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, Mindy. Well, you know, it just speaks to, I mean, that's my experience of you as being a very non-judgmental, a very welcoming, very much meeting people where they are and loving them up, by the way, not just meeting them, loving them up where they are. And that incorporation of the human story, the vast array of human story is a rare thing. And to be exposed to the sides from a young age, when you're formulating opinions between 12 and 20 is when we tend to do that, on a more mature level than as elementary school. And to kind of not do that, to stand aside from the dualistic back and forth,
Yeah.
just speaks to the old soul that you are, I think. And because
Love people.
yeah, I know you do. And it comes from such a natural place in you. And when you combine loving people with service, now we're talking something super special. Now, I want to just, so you learned Buddhism from the POW.
Who was also a
Which-
special forces soldier.
I mean, just that in and of itself,
That dichotomy alone, it
right?
makes you go,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I love that so much.
Me too.
So much. Oh my gosh. That's a whole, oh, you talk a lot about that for a while, I'm sure. So, and that must have impressed you tremendously to see this soldier in front of you and hear this peace, you know, I'm not going to say proselytizing, but you know, delivery of a state of being that you would not expect. And
Yes.
so did that make you dive into Buddhism initially, and then did that take you somewhere else?
It did help me dive into Buddhism. What it especially did was opened the door to what else, because I had definitely learned to just love everyone, but the pressure was on to, so where you go to church, honey? You know, where do you go to church? Where do you belong? You know,
Yes.
all of that
Oh,
in
yes.
those years, you know, the 12 to 19-ish years, you know, who are you? What are you, one of us? You ain't from around here, are you, girlfriend? You know, that kind of really tight-knit community that didn't like the Yankees, and they didn't like the, you know, it was just a lot of figuring out how to navigate. And so when I spent a lot of time with David, my circle was changing. I was getting out of high school, I was becoming an adult. So all these people chatting in my ear and all this expectation and judgment and those things were falling away in my life, as they do. And he just really opened me up to what else? What else did I
Interesting.
not have awareness of? What else? What were my choices? He really helped me understand that Literally everything was possible.
What a perfect teacher at a perfect time.
He really was. He really was. And he
Um,
was significant. I mean, he was older than my parents. And
oh,
so he
really?
was very much like a grandfather image.
Interesting, interesting. So let's talk a little bit about, I'm going to jump ahead.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump ahead to the things that happened over the last year, some of them, not all of them, because I want people to understand, how you've taken this openness and all of this forward to times of crisis. And, most people who have watched or listened or been with me or read the book or whatever are familiar with the term peduncle. And peduncle is an incredible, here's my water bottle. You can see the figure 8 here. It's this middle part. It's the part where you get squeezed, and it means that you're being, you're going through the contraction in order to get to the expansion, and it's a birth canal. And sometimes those birth canals are just really uncomfortable, painful, and challenging in a million ways. So what we learned from the infinity wave is how to flow through them, how to not resist and go along with the tide, rather than trying to swim against it. So let's go back a year from now. It's just a year, if you can believe it, to Lahaina. And let's just talk a little bit about that. And looking back on it now, just reflections, I remember when you were going through it and how you were. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. So
I'm not even
let's hear
sure
it.
that I remember how I was. I
I
just
bet
knew that I
not.
was, right? For those of you that don't know, I'm sure a lot of you do, but I lived on Maui and I lived in Lahaina. So the town that burnt to the ground in Hawaii, that was my town. And that was my house and that was my community. And I actually wasn't even on island that day. I was on island within about 18 hours because my daughter called and said, "Mom, there's a fire. I've gathered up as many things as I can. Is there anything else?" And then the phone didn't work. And then she called me back because the cell service was bad. She called me back, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes later, and she goes, "Last chance. You got anything? Because I can hear the neighbors' propane tanks exploding. I got to go." They left. 15 minutes
With the
later,
animals, with the animals.
yeah, Madeline had grabbed as many of our animals as she could catch. And within 15 minutes of her leaving, our whole neighborhood was gone. And I don't know that I remember how I was. I just knew at the time I immediately got on a plane because just like weeks before that, my stepfather had had a massive heart attack. My mother had had a stroke. 3 weeks before this phone call, my daughter had been in Vermont and New York in a flood situation, and they had had to evacuate. She had gone back to the island, and I was in North Carolina taking care of the rents, as we call them, the grandparents. And as soon as she called, I was looking for a flight to go home. And I think I had my daughter, I had our animals, I had my daughter's best friend. She has a son. And I just knew that it was another piece of my timeline where I was out front and there were things that needed to happen. And I just did the next right thing and the next right thing and the next right thing, and then whatever else I could do. And I had this beautiful job where I help all these amazing souls that are changing the world. I help support them in their own passion projects and befriend them and nurture them and have the honor of nurturing the nurturers. And hallelujah, I could do that from any sofa with a Wi-Fi signal. And I did. And that sofa changed often. And I just kept showing up. It was Tuesday at 11 o'clock, and that was so and so. And it was Wednesday at 12:30, and that was Amber. And it was Thursday at 4:30, and there's Hope. And, it, I just kept going through the motions until I started to get my bearings again. And while I was doing all those things, I was trying to help as many people as I could in the community and gathering things and delivering them to parking lots and, mothers that were living out of their cars. And I mean, we had, was like 86% of our town literally burnt to the ground. And even the places that they didn't have electricity, they didn't have plumbing, they're toxic as heck. You can't live there. So it's just now they're starting to have some meetings about the possibility of doing some rebuilding. It's been a year.
Wow. Well, I wanted to highlight that you were really heroic in the way that you really rose to the top in terms of helping people that you just mentioned, with fumes causing your lungs to be, inflamed and whatever. You just kept on serving the community in it just unending ways and reassuring us, those who were not there, on Facebook every other day or so, here's what's happening. We're okay, which was very helpful because of course we were all concerned. And here's where, the funding needs to go. And we raised money for the community and for you guys. And, you were just a beacon, really a beacon. And I would hope that if a disaster like that happened, that I would also be able to raise to that level. So
I have no doubt. I have no
but
doubt.
you
And it's
also
not even, you don't even think about it. You just
no, I
do the
know,
next
you
right
just do the
thing.
next
When you
right thing.
really
I know.
love people and your soul is in service to humanity, you just show up. You,
Yeah.
especially if you're an empath, like I talked about, it's so uncomfortable to sit there, do nothing, and witness people deeply suffering. And you just show up in the ways that you can. And I hate that my family went through that. At the same time, as old souls and volunteers to be here during these challenging times, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to do, is show up and do the work and know in your heart and your mind and your soul that this kind of stuff happens. Just move forward. And you don't have to figure out how. The day you keep, there's so much that's happened, y'all. I can't even. But the advice that I would give people, because they would say things like, I don't know how to do this. Nobody knows how to do this stuff. Nobody. You just keep walking and breathing until it gets easier. It's just like grief. You just keep going through the motions until it gets a little lighter. And then one day you notice that you can almost breathe again. and it's not on you. And you just do the next right thing and keep going. And hallelujah to have had beautiful opportunities and support in my network that gave me the chance to show up and help people and have resources that I could help distribute.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
grateful. I'm so grateful. It helped all of us.
well, I just, there are so many ways that a person responds to dramatic events like that. And I think it's a great lesson to help the other guy and gal, because it keeps us from falling into the snake pit of, feeling sorry for ourselves in a way. Not that you wouldn't be justified, and maybe did on occasion. And God bless you. I can
It
see
all lives in here, right?
all this
That's
is there.
it. You have it
But
all. Yeah.
we've always heard, if you want to feel better, help somebody else. If you
Mhm.
want to get out of your own doldrums,
Yeah.
help somebody else. And this was a beautiful example of that. And you were just really a shining emblem
Mm.
of that truism. And so and then, a lot of other things happened throughout the year. And I want to just say that all along the way, you've retained a sense of humor.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
me, I have to, or I end up, it's either find the humor in it because source, God, universe, pick your word, has a really great sense of humor. You can't make this stuff up. You just you cannot make this stuff up. And you either find a way to roll with it, to wave with it, right? You find yourself personally, I found myself in the peduncle. Is that what it is?
Peduncle.
The peduncle. I found myself in the peduncle. I've literally found myself in the peduncle like 8 times in the past year in various ways. And I have to laugh about it, not to diminish the pain, not to diminish the difficulty, not to diminish or blow off or make light of the virtual carnage that people would describe my life experience as over the past year, but also at the same time, it's been so beautiful. And it's so completely different and yet still okay. You don't know how your needs are going to be met, but sure enough, they were met every day. There were lots of days that I had no idea how I was going to get through the next hour, let alone the whole day. Sure enough, every day it got worked out. And hallelujah. It teaches you a lot. I've let go of people, I've let go of portions of my financial life. I've let go of places. I let go of all my things. I let go of friends. I let go of animals. Yeah, there's been talk about the rebirth. Holy smokes, man.
Yeah.
My skull is deformed from being in the peduncle so many times lately. But it's been also incredibly beautiful. Talk about learning what your strengths are. Talk about learning that it's okay to ask for help. Talk about having opportunities to receive and not always be the giver, because we're all comfortable with being the giver. But very few of us are truly great at being the receiver. In my circle, they're not great at it. I'm sure there's circles out there that are fantastic at it, but in my circle, we have to learn it. We have to learn that offering people the opportunity to be the giver and taking your turn at being the receiver offers you perspective and them joy. How much I love doing it, offer that opportunity to somebody else. truly offer it. Not because, and they're not doing it because you're broken. They're not doing it because, oh, poor you. They're doing it because they love you. You matter. Where they see that you're doing good things and they want to be a part of it. It feeds their own soul through feeding yours. And it's a different perspective. It's a beautiful opportunity.
Beautifully said, because and it's so important. It's really the other side of the coin, and we have, most of us have a very unbalanced coin. It's very tiny on one side and very big on the other, and really, when we get them in balance, the whole coin grows.
Mhm.
You know,
Agreed.
um,
Agreed.
and so it's something that, yeah, I am kind of passionate about this. Mindy, let's shift over into talking about business and how, I know you have this new project, but before we get to that, let's understand your past with business and how it all evolved.
How this particular career of mine evolved?
Yeah.
Okay. I fell into it. I followed a teacher that made a lot of sense to me, that delivered messages of hope and compassion and unity, and just basically hounded them to let me help them because they were clearly in over their heads, and wore them down. And then they offered me and every time I would be with them, they would have some kind of little social media contest thing. And I would win it every time because I have this beautiful online network of people. I'm basically maxed out on my Facebook friends, right? Because I've traveled a lot all over the world and I've never met a stranger and I always connect with them. And so when I say, "Hey, comment on my picture because I'm in a contest," they do, because they love me and it's fun and they know I love them, and why not, right? Anything, it's little. Anyway, so I would always win the contest. And when their social media person quit, they reached out and said, "We're in a bind. We have no idea what to do. We don't have anybody to do this. Could you help us?" And until we can find somebody else, I was like, "Sure, why not?" At the time, I was a partner in a veterinary hospital. So, and I had just gotten out of commercial construction and, very diverse. That's why I was like, this career or yeah. So I said, sure, I can figure it out. And I called my girlfriend and said, "I don't know how to make a meme. I'm in trouble. I can do, I know how to engage. I know how to create the quotes, but I didn't know how to make a meme." Anyway, she laughed, and I sat down and I taught myself how to do graphic design and how to be a digital marketer and what it meant to have a social media strategy and what that looked like and how to do that and what the algorithms were and blah, 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 blah. And 7 weeks later, they said, "Hey, this is going great. Could you do Lee's too?" Which was crayons. And I was like, "Sure." Terrified, terrified. And it went great. I learned a lot. I was so blessed to have the opportunity to travel and meet so many amazing people that I now call my friends. Some of them are just my best friends. And it's been wonderful. And it's all just evolved. This part moved to that part, moved to that part. I don't know if you are, I know you're familiar, but if everybody's familiar with the Celestine prophecy, but it does. It just, you start here and you get some excitement and you take a hard left, and it just all fell in line.
So let's talk about dream doulas.
Mhm.
So up until this point,
Mhm.
you have been providing a wide range of services to people like me
Mhm.
and others, not just people like me. It basically, people show up to you with a need and you have a menu and people can check the box of what they need and you make it happen. So, and you do that with your dear partner, Jenny. And but I want to talk about how Dream Doulas is it the same? Is it different? Let's talk about that. Because that's what you're hatching now.
That's what I'm hatching now. The other is still in existence and I love doing it. So the other, how I walked in the door was I created a company called the Ambassadors of Light. And with the Ambassadors of Light, I've been serving established spiritual teachers, healers, and leaders that have a following, understand what their mission is. Maybe they want to grow it, maybe they want to evolve, but they have walked in the door with an understanding, a following, life experience, commitment, courses, speaking engagement, all the things. And so through Ambassadors of Light, we've offered custom offerings for those people, covering live events, email campaigns, websites, helping with courses, delivering all those kinds of things. But it's all been, what do you need? We can work it out. We can make it happen.
Book
um,
launch.
book launches, right? Book launches, lots of social media, lots of helping folks figure out what they want to offer, because just like the rest of us, go figure, people that have committed their lives to this already sometimes want to do something a little different. Sometimes they want to mix it up. Sometimes they want to do the same thing, stay on the same topic, but present it differently or reach a different audience. And so through Ambassadors of Light, we've done that. And Jenny is just, she's brilliant. She's brilliant. She's, yeah. So Dream Doula has birthed from that experience. And, there's so many folks that I meet all the time, or I hear from often, or I run into on planes. Jenny's always laughing. We need to get you on a plane. I know we wrapped up with this project and we need another one. You're going to have to travel, because I'm always bringing people home, she says. So we've learned all these things from having these experiences and these opportunities with established folks. And but there's so many people that have a passion, they have a message, they're called to do this thing or that thing, or share this skill or this message, or make the world better through community, whatever it is. And so we created Dream Doula to offer those folks a way to get going. Figure out what it is. Awaken your dream, right? Then we helped people we've come up with ways to really reduce your entry point to getting your message, your brand, your passion rolling. A lot of people they don't need a 30-page website. They don't even need a 15-page website. They need a home page, a services page, an about me, and a contact. And they just need to get going. They just need to get her rolling. And so we found all these ways to offer these opportunities to folks that are just starting out.
I love this so much because I mean, I can't tell you how many times a day when I'm seeing clients, I want to change careers and I feel like I should be going into the healing arts, or I've left my job and now I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something in the spiritual realm. I'm not sure what it is. course, we douse and kind of narrow it down.
Mhm.
But the next step, you know, to be able to pass them along to the dream doulas, to now take your idea and let's catalyze it. Let's
Mhm.
really focus it, get the right language, you know, get the thing birthed. And without it being an overwhelming process. And I just have to speak to how you and Jenny hold people. Now, I did come in with quite a bit already intact,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I have been held by both of you through the process of moving from being a solopreneur into a collaborative, which I love collaboration. So, but you know, you go chug it by yourself for a very long time because that's all you can afford for one thing, or you don't have any resource for anybody else. And you guys held me and still do. And so I'm dream doulaing new things all the time, right? I'm coming up with a new course and I'm going to birth this and I'm going to birth that, but I have the support to
Mhm.
do that now. It's not all by myself. And
Yes.
I cannot tell you, I have told you, but I'm telling everybody now that it makes a world of difference. And even if you think, oh, I can only afford this much of it, go for that much because it's worth it and it gets you over the hump
Just
and
start.
gets you
Just start.
started, you know, and then
Mhm.
down the road, you can maybe come back for another hump lift. But, you know, it's really valuable. We don't, I mean, look, this is just to reiterate, you know, the wave came in because we don't, one of the reasons is we do not have all the time in the world to sit around and, you know, no, get it done, get it going
Time to
now. The world
act.
needs you now, now
Mm.
and now and now.
Yep.
And so to have this option is just incredible at this time.
It
And
is.
to have it be fun, funny, lighthearted,
Mhm.
warm, sincere, authentic, and capable, by the way.
Hmm.
Uh, well, where do you find that? You find it here. You find it here.
Thank you.
So I really just wanted to help people understand, A, who you are,
Thank
the foundation of who you are, and then this incredible offering that, you know, I encourage people to take advantage of. So Mindy, do me a favor. We're gonna get some Q&A going, but would you put your link in the chat,
Yep.
please?
Sure. Absolutely. I will do it. You know, it's my calling. It's my passion project. You know, it's what I love to do. It's what spirit has tasked me with. It's my, as my sweet amazing friend Amber says, it's my sacred assignment is to be the trumpeter. And it's such an odd marketing is a different activity in a spiritual realm than it is selling trivets and t-shirts. And to make sure that you continue to stand in integrity and you continue to understand that what the goal is, and what the goal is to make sure that your client makes a living, but their passion is to make the world better. And it's not about how many times over can we pay the power bill? I mean, we all want to be able to pay the power bill infinite amounts of time today would be great. But the real goal is to find a way to make a good living while living your passion and serving humanity. And that is not necessarily the goal of every marketing agency out there. And it takes a special understanding and really staying inside of your own sincerity and your own belief system to be able to do both, to have a foot in both worlds again, and really bring that through in an integrous, balanced, well-received way.
Beautifully said. Ah, she's amazing. Okay, I want to see if we have any questions. You can put your hand up or just wave your hand to the best of your ability, and I will, yeah, then you can unmute. Does anybody have anything they'd like to
Does anybody
ask?
have a passion project that they're trying to figure out what to do with? I'm right here. This is your opportunity for some free advice.
No, come on, folks.
There you
I
go.
know you do.
That's funny.
Well,
This is always how it goes.
Okay, okay.
Esther.
So, dear Mindy.
Hi, sweet friend.
Hi, sweet Mindy. I love you and what you do is extraordinary. I already know all that stuff. So what though? I mean, monetarily, I do not have any extra any funds. I have plenty of ideas. I have what I've done as kind of my mainstay. I still wouldn't mind doing the counseling and astrology and everything, but my real passion, even more, is the poetry and the songs that are so relevant for this very time that started coming to me 30 years ago and still keep coming. And yeah, so when one any ideas there? Just
So here's where the hit that I'm getting for you, Esther, because you present well, you communicate clearly, you have a tremendous amount of knowledge, and you express it well verbally, right? The place that I would start with for you would be YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube is the second largest search engine on the planet. You can teach and learn literally anything on YouTube. You want to learn how to fix your dishwasher? Go to YouTube. You want to learn how to do astrology? Go to YouTube. You need a kidney transplant and want to know what all the different methods are? Go to YouTube. And we can talk about other things, but make videos, pick topics, make videos, put in each video what we call an optimized description. It's always bringing them back to you. If you have a website, great, bring people back to it. Put your website in your optimized description. Add a bunch of keywords in the description of your video that people might be looking for, that your topic, your brand talks about. Come up with, you want to talk about astrology? Great. You want to talk about your poems? Add the keywords that are in that poem. Add the emotions that are in that poem. You can also search Google or ChatGPT for the most searched for whatever. Pick a topic and ask Google and ChatGPT, what are the most searched keywords around this topic? Make your videos off of that.
Wow,
Talk to ChatGPT. You can use the free version and say, I'm interested in creating a YouTube channel around X topic. What are the top 25 videos that I could make that would reach the widest audience with the least amount of effort? It's
wow.
literally going to write you a plan. Use it.
Okay, and what
Use
is
it.
chat what? What do you call it?
It's called Chat GPT. It's AI.
Yeah, I figured.
It's AI. And the beauty of that particular program is if it didn't answer you correctly, you say, I'm trying to reach this kind of age group and this kind of, demographic, and folks that are interested in this. And I have a passion for fill in the blank. And I want to grow my YouTube channel. Now, once you get a following, I want you to always be building your own list. And when I say your list, I mean your email list. Okay. You can have all these followers on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and God knows what else. And that's great, but you don't own those contacts until they have subscribed to your email list. Those contacts are not yours.
That's
So you
interesting.
always want to be offering something free that you can trade for their email list. You know, sometimes that's a newsletter, sometimes that's a free course, sometimes that's a, you know, lots of folks get their foot in the door with a 10-minute free meeting or, you know, something. You want to have what we call a lead capture. Okay. And you want to just be building your list. But the easiest way for you to get rolling, chick, because you're amazing and I love you and I want to see you succeed, and everybody needs more of Esther in their life, is for you to get a YouTube channel going.
I haven't won it. I've kind of abandoned it for the last, I don't know, 6 months. I've just kind of,
Knock it off, baby. Get
okay,
back in the saddle.
okay.
And it doesn't have to be professional. People
Yeah,
are so
yeah,
worried about getting on camera. You know, it's okay. Just literally when you think about it, right? Me too. It happens to me too. But literally when you think about it, pull your phone out and record and then put it up. You don't have to be especially dolled up that day. The background doesn't have to be perfect. None of those stories are true. Nobody cares. They
right, right.
just want to hear from you.
Yeah.
It's not about any of those other things. It's about being relatable, vulnerable, just you.
Okay. Thank you
Brilliant,
so much.
smart. Bring your stuff to the world, baby.
Hey,
Everybody wants to hear it.
Mindy.
I
Thank
love
you
you.
so much. I love you. That's really helpful. I
Good.
think that's what I needed to hear because I do have already the station. I just got bogged down when I started to move my website and
Hmm.
it didn't all come over. It turned out to be a huge thing. And I kind
Mm,
of just never picked up the ball from then because
mm,
it was
mm.
overwhelming. So it's time to do it.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
let me just ask a quick follow-up, that what you just said, Esther, made me think
Sure.
about. Um, do you ever do, Mindy, do you guys, maybe gals, I should say, do you ever do sort of a once over? We'll do a review of everything, you know, take your temperature, take your blood pressure, you know, of your site and all your assets, and
Mhm.
sort of just do a once, whatever, I don't know how
Yeah,
you'd
well,
call
we
it,
call
but
it an audit. We
oh,
call
yeah,
it
yeah,
an
yeah, an
audit.
audit.
Yeah, we absolutely do. We do audits all the time and really just help people understand where they are and how to best take the next step. You know, no, lots of my clients have some resources. Lots of my clients don't. And there are ways to move forward in whatever category you're in. It really doesn't matter what category you're in. There are always ways to move your passion project, your calling, your purpose forward. Mhm.
That's so important for
Yeah.
everyone to hear.
And,
And
you
it,
know, Jenny's going to do a webinar on September 12th, and she's going to help people understand about, you know, how to take a video and break it down into a bunch of different pieces of social media without making more or anything. Just use the video you made and how to break it up and how to use Chat GPT and Canva, which are, you know, really pretty intuitive pieces of software that anybody can use that are free to build out your social media. Social media is free marketing. It's free.
how do they get to that webinar?
If you'll come to the dreamdoula.net, let me just double check. Yeah, I'll drop it. It's dreamdoula.net/passion. And it's about how to take your passion and figure out a plan. Let's see.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And if you guys will just come to the website, you can sign up for our email list and you can join the free webinar. And then we have this passion offering. We're going to do the awaken your dream as a group. I've done it individually. Basically, it's helping people pin down what they really want in their lives, what their purpose, passion, calling is, and then how to build a roadmap around it, just like you were saying. And we're going to do it in a group format because it's cheaper for people. And I want as many people to have the opportunity to do it as they can.
Mm.
And I'm
Awesome.
trying to type while I'm talking and it's not going well.
I put dreamdoula.net/passion.
Oh,
in
look
there.
at you. I'll just get out of the way now and let my team do it for me. That's hilarious. Thank you, darling.
Yeah, you're welcome. So fantastic. Anybody else have any questions or comments for Mindy?
Judy.
I have a question. I'm curious as to what you did for Hope. Was it her website or what did you actually do?
That's a great
Well,
question.
no, the website was already created, but as we have had needs on the website, they have added those things. They've also optimized my website and so that it works better. And they've helped me in so many ways. I can't even begin to count. I also have received the advice to create more videos. And I've been dragging my heels about that, but no longer, I'm not dragging my heels anymore. Because I think as Mindy said, there are ways to do it that are really informal and more like I think my series is going to be called, I was thinking about this the other day, something like that.
Right?
And I was just thinking, that kind of thing. And so it's very impromptu. I think that's what could work for me, because if I get to whatever, I don't, that's not what I want. I want something that's authentic and really true for me. And it's really about me, like many of us, noodling an idea, and noodling it in public. And not
Yeah.
necessarily coming up with an answer, but, working my way towards finding it. And I think that we're all doing that all the time. So I think that's how I feel comfortable. But they've helped me with a million things, just a million
Let's see,
things.
what have we done? We've helped with the book launch. We
Yes.
help with email campaigns. We've helped with lead capture things. We've helped with social media. We brainstorm. We are some brainstorming buggers.
Yeah.
We just
And so,
flush out
these
ideas on each other.
So I've got courses that I am now, needing to attend to creating, one for the dowsing, one for the infinity wave, and all kinds of stuff. So they're helping me with that. And, they're amazing. And if there are technical glitches, then, which there seem to be in any online business, they help with that. And that's a huge support. So it runs the gamut.
And what we don't know, we learn.
Yeah. They get a YouTube and they watch the YouTube.
Right? The first place you go to figure something out is YouTube. And then if I don't know, I call Jenny.
And let's not forget, something I have not really hired them for in the past, but I think I will be in the future, is helping me with my retreats and my workshops in person, wherever I'm doing them. I've been doing those on my own for many years now, and it's just very, very time consuming. And if I'm to keep up with my client load and writing the second book and all the other things that I'm doing, creating the courses, I need help with that. So they're going to help me with venues, help me with booking people, all the stuff that I do on my own, they're going to support me with. And I'm so excited about that.
We are too. That's the beauty. Amber was going too.
Yeah.
That's the
Amber.
beauty of a team, right? Because just because you have a passion project, just because you have a purpose, just because you have been doing it by yourself or you have some skills, it doesn't mean that it's what you love to do. And it's overwhelming. There's so many details that you can't always show up, work your magic, be in a creative space, and get all the things on your list done. So it really is so helpful to have somebody to sounding board it off with and other people that you can delegate it to and hand it off confidently.
And I've seen Mindy do that for Clint, Dr. Clint Rogers, a couple of his events, and she's just done a beautiful job and done it with a smile and a sense of humor. Hello, even though people are, well, my room isn't there, whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's like
You
it's
just
Mindy
show up and
became
love
the
them.
light butter. Just amazing.
Thank you.
Attitude is huge, and
It really is on either side of the problem.
it is.
Attitude is huge. Yeah. Yeah. I just
Anyway.
love people so much. I'm so honored to help people birth their dreams. Is there really a better job? I mean, hallelujah.
Great job. Great job.
What do they say? The 5 people you surround yourself with the most are the folks that you become most like. I won the lottery. I'm just saying. I won the lottery.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have a question or comment before we sign off for the evening? Now's your chance.
Hi there.
Hey,
Hey,
Hey, I'm sorry I got on a little bit late, but I
you
got
are
on
right on time, chick. Right on time.
the perfect time to be inspired. And I realized that any question I ask would just be an excuse. So it's like it's something I've been thinking about. And thank you so much for putting this on. Hope and Mindy, this is my first foray into this group. So
welcome.
thank you so much.
No.
Appreciate it. I'm really inspired. It's something I've been putting off and putting off and putting off and putting off and putting off, but nobody's ever done that before.
I don't know anybody that has ever procrastinated or had imposter syndrome. I'm sure you're the only one.
I'm an innovator.
Yeah, right? You're on the leading edge. What can I do for you, sweetness?
Well, I'm a musician and I do music with children, and I've been needing to create a YouTube channel for so long, and I've been I've written down a whole outline for a course, and I've gotten a little spurts of inspiration now that I've gotten some skills with Canva, and I see the potential with that, and a little bit of experience with the AI to help create something, a course or something. But I'm held back by the need for it to be perfect out of the gates, or really good right out of the gate, and not having to climb that improving my offering as like I really want it to be. I really want it to be really good out of the gate, and I think that's, of course, my best excuse to not start at all.
Do you want my best advice around that?
Yeah.
Knock it off. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Do you follow several people on YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so go back 3 years, 2 years, last year, and look at their videos. They were good, but now they're better.
Yeah.
Great. And you still liked them. And they were still valid, and they were still important, and they were still doing a good job, and they were still reaching you and inspiring you and touching you, and they've gotten better.
Yeah.
That's the point. You're already good. You're already perfect to start. You are already in the perfect place. You already know enough. You're already enough of an expert. What was it they say? The difference in a lot of people, and especially sometimes the female versus masculine attitude. God, I love men. They will just jump in. You know, they will have never tried this before, but they will just say, I can do it. And whether they can't or whether they can, they believe they can. And that is the piece that matters. And whereas women, if we don't think that we've got a degree, we've got the experience, we've been doing this for 3 years, and we're not afraid to like do it on stage in front of 1 million people, we won't even apply. We won't even raise our hand. We won't even contribute the smallest piece of expert advice because we don't consider ourselves experts. So we won't even contribute to the conversation. We have to stop that. We have to stop that. To be a teacher, you don't have to be an expert. You just have to be ahead of the folks you're teaching, right?
Yeah.
And you are. You already are. And the fact that you want it to be so great already tells me this matters to you and that you hold wisdom around it. And that wisdom is going to continuously evolve, as are your skills on YouTube. Who cares? Just get started. You don't have to be who you're going to be in 5 years. You can't be. You don't know what you don't know yet. And that's great because you have all of this other amazing things to step into later. Just start, sweetness. Just start.
Thank you.
And I'm sitting here in my shirt and the corner of my room and I'm not on camera all the time. And I didn't rehearse any of this. And I don't talk about this stuff very often. I'm not on this side of it very often. I too would say I'm not great at this side. But I know what I know. And not a lot of people hold my skill set just like you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I did this all the time, I'd get better at it. And I'm doing it more. I'm getting better at it. My clients keep saying, come be on camera with me. Because they want their followers, they want their audience, they want their network to have the opportunity to step into their own passion. And it's time. It's time. I am so proud of you for listening to your calling. We're all hearing more and more loudly the call to step into our sacred assignments. And this is yours. Just start. Just get started. I dropped my email list in here. Amber, Mindy's the best cheerleader. Aw, love you. Yeah, I dropped my email in here. I'm happy to talk to any of you. I'm happy to give you guys some of my time. Be delighted and honored to brainstorm with you for a little bit. I really would. Be happy to hop on a call with you, cheerlead you, point you in the right direction, pat you on the back, inspire you, strap a rocket to your back, send you off.
Thanks
You
so
got
much.
this. You've got this. You have excitement around it. Act on it. The next thing will arrive. It'll be great. You'll be shocked and amazed and surprised. And you'll learn so much. Go do that and teach everybody on your way.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Well, there you have it. That is a perfect little cupful of Mindy. And who wouldn't want that in their lives? Pretty great
Yeah.
stuff. Um,
Thank you.
So I want to be mindful of people's time, but if there's anybody else who has a quick comment or question, now's the time. Otherwise, we will be saying good night. And I hope you all feel as inspired. Oh, Arma, you have something quick?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for thank you, Hope. I've been watching the Infinity Wave, all your interviews. I'm so excited. I'm all about water. Actually, I actually sleep with a bottle of water to remind me how important this
Aw,
is. So
aw.
I wake up in the morning with my friend. I say, oh my gosh, this is me. This is my water. Thank you so much. So Mindy, the one thing I'm super concerned about with going on YouTube
Mhm.
is software and editing and how much time all that takes. And I'm like, gosh, doesn't my local, community center offer a course on editing? How does everybody know how to edit? And, I
They
see
don't.
people saying it took me 14, okay,
They don't. And
it took
that's
me
okay.
14 hours to edit 10 minutes. So yeah, how do we just, just go out there and just do it? I mean, yeah.
I love this question. Thank you. These are all the reasons that keep people from acting, right?
Yeah.
It keeps
Yeah.
people, it's overwhelming and they're out of their element and it's scary. And people don't have a huge amount of time and it's not their forte. So, first off, I want to say to you, like I said, just start. It doesn't matter that your editing is perfect. Okay? It matters that you start. Next, there are very easy pieces of software that you can edit with. Okay? You can get on Udemy. Sorry, please excuse me. Please hold, as I'm often to say. You can get on Udemy and you can find courses on simple video editing. Okay? And I mean, I can edit a video on my phone. You can do it. You can make a picture in Canva that you use as your thumbnail, or you can choose a picture through the video that you like and use that as your thumbnail. Your thumbnail is the piece that goes in the front, right? You can make another one that you can slap on the back. It's not hard to do. YouTube will teach you simple
I,
video editing
I
and
actually
with
have
free
three.
software.
Thank you. I actually used KindMaster. My parents are the last generation to be born under 350 years of Dutch colonial rule
Mm,
in what is now known as Indonesia, but back then it was known as the Dutch East Indies, just 80 few short years ago. And
mm,
my dad, I edited his 500-page memoir with his own illustrations, and I used Dad's illustration as that thumbnail. And then I did all the editing and sound
mhm.
effects for his short story. So yeah, I mean, I have done it, and
You're
I did
coming to the table
KindMaster
with a
on a
lot more skill
tablet.
set than a lot of folks are.
Thanks to my high school niece, I will say that.
Yay for the next
So, okay,
generation, right? And Amber says that
for
Canva
real.
now has a new editing piece of it too. So you can do this.
Okay.
You can do this. And
Yeah.
in the program, in the free webinar that Jenny's going to put on, she's going to talk about that too. How to take free software that's readily available that a lot of people already have some familiarity with, but even if you don't, it's not hard. It's actually pretty intuitive. And take your videos and turn them into lots of pieces of social media.
Thank you
So
so
Arma,
much.
Arma, in here somewhere in the chat is my email address.
I
Okay.
saw it flash by, yes.
Okay, good. Here, I'm just gonna copy it. I'm gonna put it back down here.
Okay.
Again, send me an email, okay? And I'll make sure that you get signed up for Jenny's webinar.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You're
Yay.
welcome.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Your
you. I'm
beautiful
glad
tribe.
you're here. So sweet to hear from everybody. Beverly, video project. Yeah. Yes, there are. Yes, there are video. You can, Beverly, go check out YouTube, girl. Seriously. YouTube and grant writing. Hallelujah. It's all there. You just have to have the time to go down whatever rabbit hole you choose. It's all there. What you want to do on YouTube, though, just make sure, guys, that ladies, I can hear Amber in my, I know, I see you shaking your finger. We're not guys, lady. When you're searching YouTube, you want to look for two things. Okay. You want to look for recent material or material that has tons of views. Okay. Because the ones that have tons of views may not be the most up-to-date information, but millions of people have found it helpful. So, you know, when it's technical information, if it's a year or more old, just remember it may or may not be exactly the right advice, but it's obviously going to be solid advice. And maybe you'll need to watch something else that is within the past year or 6 months, depending on what it is, to really get the latest version. But that video that has tons of views, there's a reason. Go check it out. Okay. In a perfect world, the stars would align because everything is possible. And you would find something that's got 50 or to 100,000 views and it's within 6 months to a year. That's the sweet spot, right? Yeah, right. So that's what you're looking for. But if you can't find the sweet spot, look for something that has quite a few views, but is fairly new, and then something that just has overwhelming views. Maybe it's a couple years old. So what? And then go check when you find a channel that you like Hope's or Amber's or Esther's new one. If you like their content, if you like a video that they have, go directly to their channel. And how you do that is once you're watching a YouTube video, you click on the name of the person that's down here on the bottom left-hand side. I'm probably opposite of anyway, it's the bottom left-hand side. And click on that. That'll take you to their channel. And then scope out what other videos they have. You could learn all sorts of stuff from somebody that you thought was great. They might cover a variety of topics or go more deeply into what you were called to there.
Yeah.
Okay, I've chewed your ears. Slap off your heads.
Well, this is recording, so you can always refer back to any piece that you may have missed, because there's a lot of information that Mindy's just given us over the last half hour. So you can just fast forward if you want to that part, and it's all there for you. So I think we're going to wrap it up.
Great.
All right. And
Thank
just
you,
thank
Hope.
you, everybody, for
Thank
coming.
you, all of
tonight.
you. Big hugs all around.
Thank you.
And thank you,
Absolutely.
Mindy. Boy, what a font of information. I'm going to stop the recording now.